Good evening, everyone. This is a little bit odd, but welcome. We're thrilled to welcome you to our first virtual summer fundraiser. This is all new to us, so bear with us as we learn, and many thanks to each of you for participating. My name's Pamela Myers, and I'm the Executive Director of the Asheville Art Museum. Since our founding in 1948, the museum has been committed to being a vital force in community and individual development, and to providing lifelong opportunities for education and enrichment through the visual arts. Throughout my over 20 years at this museum, I've been honored to work with my colleagues and Western North Carolina community to expand and grow the museum's collection and to develop a robust schedule of engaging exhibitions and innovative programs. To me, the museum staff and our wonderful board of trustees, this seems much more important now than ever before. We cannot host this virtual fundraiser without acknowledging the challenges we have all faced over the past few months. COVID-19 has changed the world as we know it. We've lost loved ones, businesses have been forced to close their doors, and many people don't know what the future holds. This is a scary time. And although the museum has been closed since March 16th, staff are committed to providing you with some hope and inspiration to carry you through. Within days of our closing, we launched the Museum from Home initiative. We've hosted dozens of virtual programs for members and visitors, held 7 weeks of extraordinary summer camp to go, providing children with a creative outlet. We've posted art activities that can be enjoyed by people of all ages. We so look forward to when we can welcome you back to the museum, when you can wander the galleries and immerse yourself in art. But until that time, we continue to be there to support our community through this difficult time in every way that we can. The reason that we're holding this fundraiser is because we also need your support. We've been fortunate to receive support that has allowed us to maintain our amazing professional staff over the past few months and have continued to provide our collection and artworks on loan with the utmost care. But our doors have now been closed for almost 5 months. 5 months this week, in fact. The museum is a nonprofit institution. That means that we rely on admission tickets, memberships, program fees, special events, and general donations to operate. This summer fundraiser will help make up for some of that lost revenue. We have an initial goal of $15,000, and I hope we can count on you to help us meet that goal, and for sure to surpass it. All of the money raised this evening and until the auction and raffle close on Tuesday, the 18th of August, at 6 p.m., will directly support the museum, its staff, its programs, and the communities that we serve. In just a little bit, Kristen Body, our membership and museum events manager, will go over tonight's program and we'll let you know how to bid at our auction, how to purchase raffle tickets, or simply to donate to the museum. Every contribution helps. Please remember that by investing in the museum, you're investing in the Asheville community and the communities around us. Before I turn this evening over to her, I want to say a few thank yous to those who made tonight's event possible. First, I'd like to thank tonight's event sponsors. Samsel Architects is a local architecture firm founded in 1985, which specializes in custom residential and commercial architecture. They're located right down the street on Biltmore Avenue here in downtown Asheville, and they have long been supporters of the museum and of the arts. And Room to Dance, which is a new, exciting adult dance venue located on the South Slope. You'll hear more about them in a short while, and they're also providing some live entertainment for you to enjoy this evening. Second, I'd like to thank our featured artists. Not only will you get to hear from them this evening, but you'll also have a chance to win a piece of their art by purchasing a raffle ticket or several. You don't want to miss that opportunity. I want to personally thank Shane Farrow, Michael Hoffman, good friends of the arts and the museum and of mine. Thank you for supporting us this evening. Next, I'd like to thank our generous auction donors. We're so grateful to have the support of these amazing local businesses, and in turn, we do all that we can do to support them. They've donated some wonderful works of art, certificates, and experiences, and I hope that you will all have fun looking through the available auction lots and bidding on at least several items. Finally, I'd like to give a special thank you to our Art Party Committee. Art Party was a new fundraising event that had originally been planned and scheduled for the end of March. Unfortunately, it had to be canceled due to the coronavirus, but many of the auction items you see tonight are included because of the hard work of that committee. We're so grateful to have worked with all of them and hope to be able to do so again in the future. We also hope to be able to bring Art Party to fruition in 2021. I would also like to thank you and give a shout out to Kristen Boddy, who has worked closely with the committee and who has dug into the complexities of developing this first virtual special event for the Asheville Art Museum. And now I want to say one last thanks to all of you who are here with us tonight, and to those of you who will be catching the recording of the event over the next several days. Your support of the museum means so much to us. Art museums are so much more than buildings with art on the walls and objects on pedestals. We're a community, and we believe that the way we'll get through this challenging time as a community, is to be there for one another. Thank you for all that you do. Stay well, and now let's have some fun.
Okay, thank you, Pam, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. I'm Kristen Boddy, the Membership and Museum Events Manager here at the museum. And as many of you probably already know, planning events and participating in them through virtual platforms is a very different experience than in-person events. However, we've carefully reimagined our virtual programming, and for those of you who have attended some of our other virtual events, you know that we try to make them as fun, dynamic, and engaging as possible. We're going to kick off tonight's program with Room to Dance. They're set up here in our Wingate Foundation atrium, properly masked and socially distanced, and will provide some music and entertainment. I hope those of you at home will get up off your couch and join in the dancing. And if you feel so bold, you might even turn on your camera so we can have a bit of a dance party. But of course, we also welcome you to use that time to visit our virtual auction, peruse the selections, and place some bids. Following that, you'll see a short video about the museum and the work that we do, the audiences we serve, and why your support is so important. Then our first featured artist, Shane Farrow, will hop on the program to talk about his work as a flame worker and show you some of his creations from over the years. Following Shane's presentation, you'll hear from some of our most dedicated supporters before I highlight some of our exciting raffle and auction items. Around 8 p.m., our second featured artist, Michael Hoffman, will join us for a Q&A about his work in ceramics, and maybe we'll be lucky enough to get a peek inside his studio. Finally, you'll hear from staff again before Room to Dance joins us once more for music and dancing to end the evening. You're welcome to ask questions and make comments in the Zoom chat box throughout the evening. You should note that we are recording tonight's program, so please leave your camera off if you prefer not to be recorded. And if you have to leave early for any reason, you can watch what we missed after we post the recording to our event page and YouTube channel. And don't worry, we'll send out a link for that within the next day or so. You should also note that our auction and raffle are now live and will remain live until 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 18th. And you may hear some noise in the background. We just had our alarm get set off, but that's just the joys of doing these events over Zoom right now. So I hope you'll forgive us for any technical difficulties. But going back to the auction, I'd like to just take a quick moment to go over how to bid and purchase raffle tickets. So If you haven't already done so, you'll need to register on GiveSmart to bid on our online auction and to purchase raffle tickets. If you're signed up for our e-newsletter, you should have received instructions with this information earlier today. The first e-newsletter did have a mistake with the hyperlink, but the second one should be correct. And I'll also walk you through how to register right now. So there are two ways to register for the auction and raffle, and you can follow along with the information on the screen. The first way is by text message on your phone. To register this way, you'll first need to text Asheville Art to 76278. That's a capital A for Asheville and a capital A for Art, and there's no space between the two words. Text Asheville Art to 76278. Follow the prompts from the text you receive, and once registered, you'll click the blue link within the welcome text to access the campaign. The second way to register is via the event website, and this is what you would have gotten earlier today in the e-blast. So you'll visit the event page at ashevilleart.givesmart.com. You'll click register to participate, and this is located in the upper right-hand corner. You'll have to create an account, and what pops up first is a sign-in screen. So make sure you go to the bottom of that screen where it says that you need to register now. You'll check the terms and conditions box. Check the text messages box if you wish to get updates on bidding, purchases, and event announcements. And I do encourage you to do this. If there's an item you really want, then you'll be notified if you're outbid. And then you can click Create My GiveSmart account. Finally, you'll click OK within the All Set message to complete the registration. So this information can also be found on our event page at ashevilleart.org. You'll receive a registration email once your registration is complete, which contains your personal bidding link. Be sure to check your spam folder if you don't receive it. Once you're registered, you'll be able to see our auction and raffle items. And once you're logged onto the bidding platform, you'll be brought to our homepage with some general information that you can look through, information about our featured artists, and links to donate. Along the top of the homepage, you'll see buttons for items, donate, pay, and My Info. You can click on My Info to update your personal information and the credit card attached to your account. You'll need to add your credit card to purchase a raffle ticket, donate, or win an auction item. You can click on items to view all the items and packages available in our silent auction and raffle. And if you want to make a general donation to the museum, simply click the donate button at the top of the screen and follow the prompts on that page. Our silent auction and raffle are now live and will remain live through Tuesday, August 18th at 6 p.m. You'll be notified if you're the winner of the silent auction lot or the raffle, and you can choose to receive text message updates for the items you bid on. And again, I encourage you to do that. If you have any problems registering to bid, please contact me by phone. That's 828-253-3227, extension 117, or by email at kbody@ashevilleart.org, and that's body with 2 Ds, or through our website at ashevilleart.org. This information is also located on the bottom of the auction page. I'm here to help you sort out any problems, though of course I won't be as available during the actual event, so I may get back to you tomorrow. But you can add any questions to the Zoom chat box as well, and I'll try to answer those questions over the course of the event. So now I would once again like to introduce Room to Dance. They kind of led us into the program a little bit with some music and some dancing. So Room to Dance is located at 175 Biltmore Avenue, which you may remember was once the museum's temporary location on the south slope, but they have completely transformed the space into a one-of-a-kind fun dance venue for adults. Although they're currently closed, it will be a really fantastic place to visit once safe to do so again. So for tonight, they'll be dancing the night away in our atrium. You'll find DJ Sasquatch set up in front of a familiar artwork, Ken Fandel's monumental The Sky Above Here. And the dancers will be in front of one of our most powerful works, Wesley Clark's sculpture, My Big Black America. Please use the next 15 minutes to scroll through our auction items and start placing some bids, or get up, dance, and have some fun. So Room to Dance, please take it away. Hello, thank you for joining the Asheville Art Museum for our first virtual fundraiser. You'll be hearing from our staff and the featured artist shortly, but first we want to tell you a little bit about who we are and the work we do at the museum. Serving as an architectural landmark of downtown Asheville, we opened to the public in November 2019 after a 3-year renovation and expansion project, and celebrated with a series of opening events honoring all those who made this project possible and welcoming the community into their new museum. Throughout the museum's history and since our reopening, the staff of the Asheville Art Museum have remained committed to serving the Western North Carolina community. Our vision to transform lives through art and the interactions we have with community members inform the programs we create, the exhibitions we curate, and the events we hold. In the 2019 to 2020 year, the museum served over 208,000 people, including 55,000 children. The museum's 815 education programs reached more than 18,200 participants. These programs also provided over 29,000 hours of otherwise unavailable arts education and engagement. The museum's education programs are geared towards people of all ages. The museum's studio program for adults are led by local and visiting artists who help students of all levels in drawing, painting, printmaking, and three-dimensional media. Skills taught in these classes often reflect techniques and themes featured in the museum's collection and special exhibitions. Our monthly discussion-bound series provides attendees with a place to exchange ideas about readings that relate to artworks and the art world. Not long ago, the museum was awarded a $25,000 Ribbon of Hope grant from the North Carolina GlaxoSmithKline Foundation in support of our Connections program. Studies show that art therapy can enhance communication, brain function, and social interaction for people living with dementia, and this program provides a safe space to stimulate the minds of adults with mild to moderate memory loss. The museum also has programs for K-12 students to enjoy. This summer, we held 7 weeks of Summer Art Camp to Go. Over 70 students participated in this virtual program, providing students with a creative outlet while school is out of session. Due to the global coronavirus pandemic, the museum closed to the public on March 16th, and we were forced to reimagine many of our programs and events. Our Wednesday member programs, Slow Art Fridays, and Third Thursday programs, along with the art activities we post to our Museum from homepage, were designed to provide inspiration and education that can be enjoyed from the comfort of home, while having some fun. These virtual programs have been a wonderful way for us to stay connected with the community, and many of you have expressed interest in us continuing them even after we reopen. We plan to do just that so everyone can continue to engage with the museum in whatever way feels safest to them. The Asheville Art Museum actively collects American art of the 20th and 21st centuries, and so our collection is always growing. Walking through our galleries and immersing yourself in the art is a calming and inspiring experience. Although we are currently closed, it is possible to take a virtual tour of the building on our Museum from homepage, view collection items and special exhibitions, and even stop to explore certain objects in greater detail. While our collection features works of art from across the United States, there is a concentration on work with significance to the Southeast and regional contributions in 3 central categories. These are artists in relation to Western North Carolina and Southern Appalachia, artists who studied or taught at Black Mountain College, and fine handmade objects created in the region, including ones made by the Cherokee Indians and at the Penland School of Crafts. The museum's special exhibitions closely examine art movements, address social and political issues, and draw connections that may not otherwise be apparent. A rotating calendar of exhibitions makes it possible for us to appeal to our members' and supporters' many interests, and hopefully cultivate an appreciation for art and culture in new visitors. We do not yet know when we will be able to welcome you back into our galleries, but rest assured that our calendar of exhibitions is being re-examined in the hopes that you will be able to see our current exhibitions when we reopen. We also have some fantastic exhibitions coming up. The most up-to-date information about current and upcoming exhibitions can be found on our website at ashevilleart.org. Asheville would not be the great city it is today without our local art scene. All of us at the museum are proud to be part of the art community and grateful that so many in Western North Carolina place great value on the arts and the impact it can have on society, politics, and emotional well-being. Through our programs and exhibitions, we work to enrich our community with dynamic and meaningful experiences in American art. Your support makes our work possible, and for that we thank you. The museum is a nonprofit institution, and we rely on donations, memberships, special events, program fees, and admissions to operate, care for our collection, and support museum staff. While we are closed, many of these sources of revenue have been drastically reduced. There are so many ways to give to the museum, and we need your support now more than ever. Whether you are making a monetary contribution, gifting a work of art, becoming a member, or donating your time, we are so grateful for your support. The Asheville Art Museum is your museum, and your gifts allow us to serve you and the Asheville community and visitors with world-class exhibitions and innovative programs. You can find more information on giving opportunities on our website at ashevilleart.org. Thank you to all who have supported the museum over the years and during this challenging time. You make everything we do possible, and we look forward to the days when we can gather together again. From all of us at the Asheville Art Museum, thank you, and we hope you enjoy tonight's virtual event. Stay connected with us on social media or visit our website, ashevilleart.org.
I'm back. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you, Room to Dance. I hope you enjoyed the video, at least briefly seeing some of the galleries that I know you love and some of the works that you enjoy visit after visit. The Spark video highlights some of the important work we do here at the museum, and I know I'm speaking to the committed in part, but really, what we do, I think, is exceptionally important right now. It was less than a year ago on November 14th, 2019, that we reopened to the public after a multi-year capital campaign and a 3-year expansion, renovation, and construction project. From November through March, we welcomed tens of thousands of members and visitors into the museum. And our membership base more than doubled, far exceeding our expectations. Many of our adult studio and art travels programs sold out. Docents were busy giving tours. Family and children of all ages were able to enjoy Art Place and our John and Robin Horn Education Center. And record numbers of people were engaging with us on social media and the website. Those months were, for me, immensely gratifying and dizzying. It was clear that our services are not only wanted, but also needed, enjoyed, and valued by many. We only had the opportunity to be open for 4 months before the coronavirus pandemic forced us to close our doors. The museum's closure created an immediate and almost total loss of earned income from general admission, new memberships, program fees, museum store sales, and fundraising events. In July, the museum estimated that over 4 months of closure resulted in direct losses of income in the high 6 figures. This amount continues to grow every day. Despite radically reducing expenses in all areas without jeopardizing programs, we're looking at significant shortfalls in this coming year. Typically, earned income would be used to support programs, exhibitions, staff salaries, and basic facilities costs, including utilities, security, fire protection, and insurance, which are all necessary for maintaining a stable and secure environment to protect the art and archival materials in the museum's collections and special exhibitions, and that we hold in the public trust. Utilities alone cost over $11,000 a month, for an example. Even when the museum reopens, and I wish I could tell you when that was going to be, but we have no idea yet, we anticipate that visitation will be down and spending will be significantly less than it was, especially in proportion to the resources needed to maintain our facilities and workforce. We are all grappling with the long-term economic and social impacts this pandemic may have and is having on our community. It will have far-reaching effects on our future expectations for fundraising, earned and contributed income, and managing on-site attendance. However, we continue to persevere because of supporters like you and because of the importance the arts have for our community. Rest assured, we are ready to reopen as soon as we can. We try to reach as many people, as you all know, as possible. And this pandemic has provided us the opportunity to explore new ways to bring art to the community. In addition to creating a regular schedule of virtual programs, our learning and engagement team initiated an Art Kits for Kids program earlier this year. We were able to deliver individual kits of basic art supplies to 1,600 Asheville City school students through their meal drop sites while schools have been closed this spring and summer. Many of these kids don't have access to art education outside of school, nor materials, and the museum staff worked together with generous donors like you and area businesses to create packages for each of these children. I believe that this program exemplifies our commitment to making sure that those who need it most have access to art and cultural resources. But our work isn't over. By bidding on auction items, purchasing raffle tickets, and making donations, you're providing us with crucial funding to continue developing programs and providing access to arts education to people of all ages. To give you a sense of the impact of your donation, I'd like to share just a few of the many notes we've received from supporters and program attendees over the past couple of months. From one of our member program attendees, this note: thank you for sharing these wonderful programs with us homebound folks. They've been so interesting and informative, introducing me to a whole new way of looking at art. And new ways of looking at art, talking about it, are what we're all about. The mother of a summer camp student shared this notion: my daughter, and I quote, "My daughter cannot wait for her next class. Thank you again for all these classes. It's the happiest she's been since the pandemic started, and I will love y'all because of that forever." Another member program attendee said, "This is helping me stay sane and expanding my knowledge of art." And finally, a participant of our popular Slow Art Friday says, "After a long week, I look forward to the Slow Art Fridays as my escape. They're informational, inspiring, and you create a safe space for us to learn and to share." Your donations are what make it possible for us to provide these safe, creative spaces for everyone who is looking to be uplifted and stimulated during this time. Your support also helps us plan for the future when we're able to welcome you back to the museum. If you're able, I hope you'll make a donation to the museum right now to help us continue fulfilling our vision of transforming lives through art. A link to our donation page has been included in the chat box. You can also donate at any time on our auction platform, GiveSmart, while you're bidding. Whether it's a $5 or a $500 or a $5,000 contribution, your gift will make a difference in the lives of all of those who benefit from our programs, our exhibitions, our outreach, and our connections throughout the community. I thank you for considering supporting us at this time.
Okay, thank you, Pam. And the support of our donors really is so important, especially now. And I want to give an extra thanks to those of you who have been sending us some wonderful words of encouragement. Just as we hope to inspire you through our virtual content, your words are inspiration for me and all my colleagues at the museum. It keeps us working hard for our community. And now, while some of you head over to the donation page, I'd also like to take a moment to highlight some of the auction lots you'll be bidding on tonight. Okay. So first, for those of you who are looking for some more hands-on activities during this time, I want to bring your attention to two lots. First up is lot 147. Here you can bid on a 1-hour private casting lesson for 2 students at Orvis. One of the hardest things about this pandemic is finding safe activities to do. The safest place you can be right now is outside, and with this lesson, you'll be ready to get outdoors for some fly fishing and well-deserved time in nature. And if you have a chair at home that's getting some extra use during this time and is starting to look a little too worn in, you'll be especially interested in lot 131, donated by the Silver River Center for Chair Caning. As the nation's only chair caning school and museum, they're committed to dispelling the myth that chair caning is a dying art and to empower everyone to learn how to restore their own chairs. Chair caning is a skill that could prove useful now and in the future. I know I certainly have some chairs at home that could use an update. And while we're home, many of us are spending a lot more time with our favorite furry friends. While it can be so comforting to spend time with your dog, you may have also noticed that your pet has developed some bad habits and needs a little extra training. If so, I encourage you to check out lot 128. Donated by Woof in the Woods, you'll be bidding on a 2-hour training session for your dog with the owner at their facility. This lot also includes a basket from Wolfgang Bakery to enforce those good behaviors. And while you're at it, check out lot 127, donated by Cedar Ridge Animal Hospital. This certificate will get you a comprehensive exam for a dog or cat, including a routine health screening and blood work. And a gift basket from Patton Avenue Pet Company includes some dog-themed fun for you, including a paint-your-own pet figurines, dog car freshener, car decal, and a tie and bully stick for your dog. And pandemic hair is something that many of us are dealing with right now. Whether you've embraced it and let your hair or beard grow extra long or not, everyone deserves some pampering. Lot 142 was donated by Sheer Illusions and includes shampoo, conditioner, hairbrush, a men's care kit, men's soap, nail polish, and a $40 gift certificate for their services. Similarly, lot 151 features a conditioning treatment and shampoo style service from Abani Salon. This will be perfect after you spend some time at the pool with your new water bottle and cool outfit purchased with the gift certificate from Palm Village. Then relax at home by burning some incense from Indo Apparel and Gifts. Now that sounds like a good day. Sorry. And so kids are also having a hard time right now too. And lot 129 is just for them. Donated by Barnes & Noble at Biltmore Park, this gift basket includes a whole lot of fun activities for the kids, including a Rick and Morty portal gun, Clue board game, Magic the Gathering, a 3D pixel puzzle, and more. And finally, if you're looking for some fun and adventure, check out lot 132. Donated by BMW of Asheville, the BMW City Scooter features a handy folding mechanism, splash protection, and a kickstand. Some assembly is required, but it will be worth it. Just be sure to wear your helmet if you're riding in the streets. And if you're looking to escape the city, consider bidding on lot 148 donated by the Gorge. And I apologize, I didn't create a slide for this one, but their auction item will get you a lower green inflatable kayak trip for 2 adults. These hot days are perfect for some fun on the river. And so now it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the first featured artist of the night. Shane Farrow has been a flame worker for 50 years and maintains a studio by Penland School of Craft. He's had 33 solo exhibitions since 1992 and participated in over 400 group exhibitions over the course of his career. His work is in the museum's collection, and he is represented by our neighbor, Blue Spiral 1 Gallery. Before we hear from Shane, I'm going to show you just a short video from his website that will give you a little introduction to his work.
My name is Shane Farrow. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. When I was 14, my family moved to Florida at about a half a mile from my house. It was like a German bohemian glass blower. And I used to ride my bike down there when I was 14 to watch him work. And then about maybe a year later, a younger guy bought the place that had a son my age, and I started by sweeping the floors and mowing the lawn, and within 2 months, they started training me. So I did glass, from the time of 15 through high school and college. That's how I paid for my college. There's something about glass that grabbed me. But ironically, I was taught more in the German styles of flame working, which is what I do. So the techniques that I use actually came from Germany and Bohemia. I'm influenced by art history in general, painters and sculptors, especially the surrealists. In the same way that the surrealists got a lot of their ideas through dream states, that's how I got a lot of my ideas. I actually would dream of going into somebody's studio or to some kind of gallery or something, and there would be all these pieces made in glass. And then, I'd wake up and go, oh my God, these things really don't exist. I made them up, I took them from my environment and reconfigured them in my mind through some kind of subconscious psychological level. And now that's a basis for, me being inspired towards those pieces. It's an ancient Greek term, it's called arete, and it means excellence. It means, do it with excellence. That means do it right. So everything that you do, you try to do it the best you possibly can. With as much passion as you can, And it makes you happy if you can do it right. And, it makes you a much better person as well. When you're doing something, like glass, that you have to persevere, you have to keep pushing, and you may have to do jobs in the interim that may not seem like what you want to do. There's not going to be, in general, instant success. You're not going to become famous all of a sudden. That you just have to try different things, and eventually, you will find your own path. And if you persevere, you'll be successful.
So now, Shane, I'll turn it over to you. I've made you co-host, so you should be able to share your screen and tell us a little bit about your work. And please feel free to post any questions you may have for Shane in the chat box. We can get to those at the end of his presentation. Shane, are you there?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see you as well.
Great, perfect. Well, I really like that video. There's been a lot of videos done, but that was done by Warsteiner Beer. You know how you see Red Bull commercials featuring people about what they do. So they made that particular video. And I like that one because it's very short and explains a lot. So I'm basically going to give you a slideshow of my work. Even though I started in 1969 as an apprentice, the slides begin in 1977 when I owned a gallery when I was 24 years old. And it kind of progresses in chronological order, more or less, from there. I'm gonna kind of move through the slides because I have a lot of them, but it'll allow you to look at certain things. And sometimes I'll comment and sometimes I won't. This is me and my sister who passed away.
Shane, I don't think you're sharing the PowerPoint just yet.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said you could see it.
We can see you.
Huh. Okay, well.
So if you go to the share screen at the bottom of the page, you should be able to share the PowerPoint.
Yeah. And you don't see it?
Nope. There we go.
Okay. You see it?
Yes.
There we go. This is my sister and I. I always like dance, so that's kind of a lot of what my work is about. An early goblet. When I had the gallery in Plattsburgh, New York, I no longer was restricted by what my teachers taught me through my 8 years of apprenticeship and through college. So I started making new things with flame working that I had never seen. So I did abstract sculptures. I studied birds in various forms and used bases from driftwood or wood that I carved out of various woods. These birds are early birds. They're small and solid. I used rocks and things like that. This is one of my favorite first human heads. It's Pythagoras, the Greek philosopher. And the base is a beaver chewed piece of wood that I repurposed. Some more, this is a piece of ebony that I carved and polished for the moose. This is a picture of the front of the gallery. Classical glass. I had two partners with me. I derive a lot of my imagery from nature. This is me as a sound man for a band, which I did for 1 year and still did glass. This piece was in the Corning New Glass Review in 1990. Cordial glasses, perfume bottles. I did these vignettes using wood and paint and things like this. Street scene from, I think, the late 80s. Goblets with figurative stems. This is called Tribute to Picasso. And then I started making these kind of surrealistic sculptures that are flame worked and then sandblasted. This is the Modern Woman Executive, made in 1990. This is about the birth of my daughter, Devin, with the hand of God and the sun and the moon there. My wife and our pets, and that's me in the back. about 21 inches by about 16 inches tall. This is over the head of a chauvinist. It's about men watching sports all the time on TV. I did a series of shadow boxes with different themes. This is one about tarot, another goblet. I studied at Pilchuck. I was an assistant at Pilchuck in 1991 for a German flame worker. It's the largest goblet I ever made. I think it was about 18 inches tall. Be pretty hard to drink out of it. And here's a series of vignettes from a piece that belongs to the North Carolina University collection. So I started doing more mixed media pieces. This is in a museum in Denmark. These I called spirit vessels. They were kind of a takeoff on perfume bottles with figurative stoppers. Halloween girl. This is Devin when she was really teeny, my daughter that works at the Asheville Art Museum. This was our original place that we lived at Penland for about 13 years, and where my studio was, which was on the bottom. It's my wife, Sally, walking down the road at Penland. This is my portrait of her. She's a Gemini. This is us. This was shown at the Asheville Art Museum probably in about 1993, I think, for a Christmas show. I've spent a lot of time in Japan, so I am influenced by Japanese and Chinese art, especially. I've been to China and Taiwan. It's a portrait of my wife. This is a piece I did as a commission. It's a large tree of life for a famous Swami in India. Another picture of Devin. This is some property we own on the North Toe River. And I started doing pieces with flame working and hot glass. This is John Getzy, you may know him, and me doing the coloration on the original color bubble. And this is the final piece. It belongs to the Corning Museum of Glass, and it was actually sold by Blue Spiral. This is another place I teach at Biltwerk in Germany, which I'm supposed to be there right now, but I can't leave the country. This is about my sister that passed on, that was in the original slide of us dancing. And then lots of birds. And I still kind of do these shadow boxes with different themes or narratives. I also do some vitriographs, which are printing from glass plates. I was a visiting artist at the Harvey Littleton studio twice, and I've printed in a couple other places too. Some of my students in Japan one year. Bamboo spirit vessels. Shot of me being in Wales. Gothic tulip. I was given this because I'm a good chef by a sushi chef in Japan, so I have an official uniform. You can see most of the surfaces that I use on my pieces are done in a painterly fashion by using rods and actually drawing before I blow the piece out. These are some of my large-scale paintings done with acrylics. These are about 30 inches by 40 inches. And I use the interplay between painting and glass to kind of play off of each other and learn from each technique towards the other. This is about Indian pipes that you'll find in the woods and their cousin, the pine drops. Wall piece, that's all glass, made with a crew. Looks like driftwood. Another large acrylic painting. These are based on when I was in Southwest England at King Arthur's supposed castle. It's a piece I did with Elizabeth Brim, blacksmith from Penland that you probably know in Asheville. And these bottles are hot glass and flame worked, sandblasted and then acid etched. Another painting. These paintings are based on my experiences in Germany. That's what I do a lot, except in these times. Bloodroot. I have a real interest in flowers and herbs and things like that in the natural state in the woods, so I collect them and utilize them. Piece I did about Spruce Pine, which is right near Penland. Me flying over the Niijima Ferry from Niijima to Tokyo. Another piece Elizabeth and I did. Teapot. And then I've thrown in a few watercolors, which is what I've been doing a lot lately. Small watercolors, 9 by 12s. Another piece, Elizabeth Brim and I showed this at Blue Spiral a few years ago. After my trip to China, I started using Chinese symbols in some of my work. And that's it.
Great. Well, thank you, Shane. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box, and I'll just read one to you now. And so Christy wanted to know, how long does it typically take you to make a bird?
Well, it's not like you just make it. Basically, besides designing it, I have to like heat chunks of color up, and I have to pull them into rods, and I have to assemble plates of glass powders, and then I have to pull the tube to make the bird or the vessel form or whatever. So it's not like you don't just like make it all at once. It's made in a series of steps. You know, it's, and then, you know, let's say if I made a bird, I still have the part where the blowpipe part on it that's still glass after I flame anneal it. And then I might not make the feet part of it for a while. And then it has to be annealed to equalize the stress in it. And then it has to be acid etched. So it's not like it's one process to the end all at once. It's I'm working on a bunch of things all at once.
Great. One question I actually had, I noticed in your bio, you identify as a flame worker as opposed to a glass blower or glass artist. And I was just wondering if you could kind of explain the difference in that and what that means to you.
Well, the original term that was used for a long time in the United States and somewhat in Europe, somewhat still used in Europe, is called lamp working, which means you're using a torch that was basically like a lamp with some kind of fuel source. And that torch then had some kind of air source over that mixed with the fuel, whether it be some kind of gas or something like that, that augments the flame to have a higher temperature to be able to melt the glass. So all the things that you do on the torch, which the more modern term in the United States especially is flame working, is that you use the torch to blow or sculpt the piece rather than using a furnace. You know, it doesn't necessarily limit the size of what you make so much, because actually some of the largest glass sculptures in the world are done by flame working, by making little parts and putting them together, like maybe 20 feet pieces and things like that. But you know, you're still blowing like you would. You just have like a smaller blowpipe, which is part of the tube, and you have a punny on the other side if you've seen hot glass. So knowing both of them, you know, I kind of go back and forth between those two techniques on certain pieces.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, and one last question. So our raffle features one of your bird sculptures, Quilted Bluebird, and and it seems from the works that you showed that birds have long been a part of your repertoire. And I was just wondering, one, if you identify as a birder, and two, I know that I could recognize some of the birds in your work, but I wanted to know if they're kind of more fictional creations that you make, or if you try to kind of use actual birds as inspiration for the sculptures you make.
Well, probably both. When I had my gallery in the Adirondacks, you know, I also did a lot of hiking and I was out in the woods. I belonged to the Audubon Society and became a birder, so I have a life list. And traveling around the world since then, you know, I'm always looking at the birds there, and I buy the field guides. But, you know, I don't know. I actually, when I had the gallery, I did a couple wildlife art shows, which they thought I was weird because you had all these bird carvers and bird painters, or, you know, animal kind of representational work. And, you know, I decided that really I wasn't particularly interested in doing that. And I mean, I do actually make birds that are a certain species of birds at time. Like I made some hummingbirds today, but I really just use it as a tipping point for creativity.
Great.
You know, I look at the patterns of birds, and then I might incorporate some of the patterns into a piece. I really enjoy just kind of making up birds, using real birds as an impetus.
That makes sense with a lot of the mythological looking things you also
Yeah.
have made in the past. I imagine you have quite the imagination. So
Yes.
perfect. Well, thank you so much, Shane, for joining us tonight. We really
Well,
appreciate
thank
it
you.
and appreciate your support of the museum.
Well, I'll continue to support the museum. I love it. I can't wait till I can come back in there.
We can't wait for that too.
Safely, but I
Yes.
will.
Great.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Shane. Have a good evening.
Okay, you too. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. So now I'd like to introduce you to some of our museum members and supporters who are going to tell you a little bit about what the museum means to them and why your support matters. First, please welcome Paula Dawkins. She's a member of the museum's Membership and Development Task Force and owner of Paula Dawkins Jewelry. Thank you for being here tonight, Paula. And if you're able to join, yep, we see you.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you for having me. It's been fun listening. I really loved Shane's work. It's quite beautiful.
It's amazing.
And amazing how it's done. Now, I always get fascinated with the how you make and the process of the creativity. It's fascinating to me. And Pam said some things that really struck home to me today, and it was talking about how strange the times are right now. We're in places that we've never been, and I don't know about everybody here, but I find myself unsettled a lot. I have a hard time finding my center. And here we are, I'm sitting in my home, and that's where I'm finding my center, is with the wonderful works of art that I have around the house, with the beauty that's outside, with the exhibits that the Art Museum is doing. It allows me, that beauty allows me to find balance in this otherwise crazy world. And with that, that's what to me makes the Art Museum so important to our community and to ourselves. And that's part of the reason I feel like we need to dig deep to support the museum, because it does allow us that place of balance in our lives, to have that inner calm feeling. And in my personal life, my daughter spent her summers at the Art Museum programs for kids, and it set her on a path of art. She followed it through high school, she followed it through college, and now she's teaching art in elementary school in North Carolina. And I credit that all the way back to when she was a child, and she spent time in the summer, she interned in the summer. And so art surrounded her and held her and comforted her and allowed her to learn to be able to express herself, to make it through this world. And I can't say too much. I think that all of us sitting in, sitting in our homes listening to this, we're all probably very blessed with abundance. We have homes, we have roofs over our head, we probably have money in the bank, at least a little bit. We can go to the grocery store and buy what we want. We can go have a nice bottle of wine if we want it. And I feel like now it's time for us to stop and to dig in to support our community, to support the things that matter in our community. And that's why I'm supporting the Asheville Art Museum with everything I have. I think it's important for all of us to be able to see and feel the beauty of art, and to feel, just a few weeks ago, it was when we had the Black Lives protest that ran through downtown, and stores were boarded up, and all these artists came out and did this incredibly moving graffiti all over town. And it was incredible. It really touched your heart. It touched the times. It touched what these people were saying. And without art, without our community art, that's not going to happen. So again, I ask you all to dig deep to support our museum and our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. I really appreciate you being here tonight, and I really enjoy working with you on the task force. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
so thank you again. And next, I'd like to welcome Doris Potash, who's past president of the docent program, and also Sarah Reinke, who is current docent president. Both Doris and Sarah are master docents, and some of you may recognize them from our Slow Art Fridays virtual program series. They lead some great discussions, and I encourage you to check out the Slow Art Fridays if you haven't before. And so Doris and Sarah, please tell us about your experience with the museum and about your time being a docent.
Well, I love the Asheville Art Museum from the first time that I visited here in Asheville. I've been a resident for about 8 years, and one of the first things I did when I moved here was to investigate the docent program and become a docent. And one of the things that I love about the museum particularly is being able to go in and quietly reflect on a work of art that might appeal to me. So it gives me that sense of peace that we just heard expressed a minute ago. The other thing that I really appreciate about the museum is the opportunity to learn. My background is in the sciences, so I never studied art or art history. I was able to learn as a docent about art, about our museum's wonderful collection. And particularly, it helped me to learn about the region that I moved into and that I'm now a part of, about the culture of the Asheville area and the Southern Appalachian region. So that's been really wonderful as well. And as a docent, I've had the opportunity to meet so many wonderful people, from preschool kids that I've taken on tours through adults. And I really feel fortunate that we have this Slow Art Friday program, because it does enable us to continue to introduce people to our wonderful collection.
Great, well, thank you, Sarah, I'm sorry, Doris. And Sarah, maybe now you want to say something?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good to see you. It's good to see y'all. So, like Paula, I spent a lot of time at the museum with my family, and it was just a big part of all of our lives. Summer camps to art programs to the scholastics. So when we moved to Asheville, having a museum was really, really important to us, and it was in part of our criteria when we were making our choice to where we wanted to live in retirement. And we visited it very quickly. As soon as we got here, we visited it, and I just felt that it was my calling card to Asheville, because I felt that I could meet people with whom I had things in common. I could create relationships around this. I'm kind of a volunteer at heart, so that's how you make relationships when you're in a new spot. And docenting, I started docenting in Fort Wayne, and I knew that it was just something that was going to make my time in a new town meaningful from the get-go. So I quickly became a docent here, and I think that the kids really enjoy it. The people I take on tours really enjoy it, but there's a super selfish factor that I truly enjoy. And, when you get in front of people, you might still feel like, oh, do I have all the facts I need? And I like that nervousness, even though I've done it 120 times. And then afterwards, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. And this museum brings so many programs to so many different people. And the outreach has continued in our new virtual world. right now, it's a new time for a ton of different reasons, and Asheville's playing a really big part in that. So people are coming from all different directions asking for support that is very, very needed, and I get it. It gets my heart. I participate in that. But the arts are a huge part of what can make a community vibrant. And with our new building, we will be a stellar place for this town, but we need to make it through this time so that we can get there. And as you're giving your money to so many different areas that need it, include the Art Museum, because it is not only an anchor in the city, a cloud, not an anchor. It's this great thing that we have, but it brings so much joy and learning and growth to people who live in Asheville, to tourists who visit here. It's important that we support. So I hope that we all look at the auction items. If you're old and you're like, oh, I don't need anything more, Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, think ahead. So keep us in mind, visit the page, use your credit card, and we'll all hope for when we can hug each other again.
Thank you so much, Sarah. You made some excellent points. So thank you for that. And so next, so I do want to thank both of you, and we're really lucky and grateful to have so many wonderful volunteers at the museum. And for those of you who are looking for a way to give back and support the museum on an ongoing basis, volunteering is really a great way to do that. And if you're interested in learning more about becoming a volunteer, please do check the link that my colleague Christy just posted in the chat box. And so next, before we welcome our next featured artist, and I do realize we're running a little bit behind schedule, I just want to tell you a little bit about some of our raffle items, and also about some of our auction lots. So, sorry. So first, this item is from Shane Farrow, and it's called Quilted Bluebird, and it's featured in tonight's raffle, and it's lot 100, and it's grouped together with Michael's item. And so over Shane's 50+ year career, he's been fascinated with birds and has rendered bird imagery into his works in various forms. This focus has narrowed in the past 18 years and has resulted in his Blown Bird Glass series, which he creates using techniques of German flame working. He believes that birds have special metaphysical and spiritual qualities, which are reflected in their colors, gestures, and flight. He also invokes humor and character into the works, especially with the titles. Quilted Bluebird is a gorgeous example of this. From its tail to its beak, this bluebird is all shades of vivid and muted blues, and the pattern of dots seems to wrap around the bird like a blanket or a quilt. And this work is just a little over 4 inches high by 6 inches wide, and almost 3 inches in diameter. And even though it's not large, it will be a statement piece in any home. And so the second item in the raffle is by Michael Hoffman, and I have to say that this picture doesn't do it justice. The colors are so much better in person, and you'll be hearing from Michael in just a few minutes. But first, I wanted to give you a look at this work. So it features some curvy linear lines and a soft yellow glaze, and you can also see from the image here that Michael incorporates antique lace into his ceramics. And his works really have a timeless quality to them through his use of porcelain and these lace details. And not only is his work gorgeous, but it's also functional. So this bowl can serve as decoration, but you can also use it to hold fruit or a home-cooked meal. And Michael is a great cook and shares some tasty recipes on his website's blog. And so if you'd like to purchase a raffle ticket and be entered to win Quilted Bluebird and Lemon Bowl, you can do so on our auction site now. And if you're already registered to bid, then just visit our auction page, find the raffle item, it's lot 100, and purchase your tickets. And tickets are just $50 for one or 3 for $125. And this helps support the museum's programs, exhibitions, and operations. A winner will be randomly picked on the morning of Wednesday, August 19th, after the raffle has closed. And so I did want to highlight some other auction items. We have some other great artworks available, but as we're running a little bit behind schedule, I'm just going to browse through them really quickly and make sure that you see that we do have some other great works that you can bid on tonight. And there's even more available on the Give Smart page. And so these are some gorgeous graphite pictures. We do also have some wonderful journals. I have found that journaling is very therapeutic during this time. And so these are gorgeous handmade journals that you can enjoy. And one of the lots does come with a candle to add to that whole relaxation experience. And these are some wooden vessels that were given by the museum. And I do just want to tell you a little bit about these because the artist may not be quite as known. And so Doug Crawforth is a woodturner who's located in New Mexico. He's known for his miniature works, and if you look at the description, you will see that this bowl is quite small, but it's still exquisitely detailed, and he has sold his work for the past 30 years in fine art galleries in New Mexico, California, and Georgia. Ed Ryan is a member and former president of the Bucks Woodturners, a chapter of the American Association of Woodturners, established in 1986 in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. His work has been exhibited at the Center for Art in Wood. And Warman Castle was actually a high school principal who also expertly turned wood, and he helped found the Nova Woodturners Guild in 1986 in Nova Scotia, Canada. And so here's also a gorgeous glass vase from our friends at Lexington Glassworks. It's primarily clear, but has some great orange and pink swirls all throughout it. And these I do want to highlight. I think jewelry is a wonderful form of art. We had a great jewelry talk in our member program earlier today. And one thing that's so wonderful about it is that you can take this art with you almost anywhere. And so the ring on the left, lot 121, has great detail from all angles. It's a scroll motif ring and has chocolate and white diamonds. And on the right is a trembler ring, and that's because it's called that because the gold discs, the gold and white gold discs, tremble as you move. They're all freely attached to the ring itself. And so we also received a wonderful donation from Grant Laughter Jewelry for this aquamarine ring that's really quite beautiful. And Terry Logan has donated this, or I'm sorry, this necklace by Terry Logan was donated by Julia Peterson and features all sorts of stones and is also a really gorgeous statement piece to wear. And finally, I do want to highlight this great lap quilt, which is has different patterns on each side, and it's really quite beautiful, and it can be hung on the wall as art, or you can use it as it's intended as a lap quilt on those cold winter days that will come back to stay cozy at home. And so now it is my great pleasure to also welcome Michael Hoffman tonight.
Hi, Kristen. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm amazed that I actually got on this thing.
I'm really glad that you were able to do so. And so, Michael, we are going to have a Q&A tonight, just really briefly. And if anyone has any questions for him, please feel free to put them in the chat box. I have prepared some to ask, but we would love to hear from those of you in attendance as well. So first, Michael, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into ceramics.
Well, I never intended to be a ceramicist. It sort of happened by accident. My undergraduate degree is in industrial design from Notre Dame, and I would always play in the clay, but never intended to do anything with it. And the same thing was true for when I went to graduate school at The Ohio State University. for non-traditional mediums. I always hung around the ceramicists because they always had the best parties. So I went ahead and took a couple classes. So that's my formal background. And it wasn't until I moved to Asheville that I had the opportunity to take this on as a career.
Great. And so obviously I highlighted that you use some antique lace in your design. So can you tell us a little bit about your inspiration for incorporating lace into your ceramics?
Sure. This is actually an old folk technique, so it's been used for centuries. Some of the oldest known fabric, known to man, doesn't exist anymore, but it is present in indentations in different figures that have been found in history. So again, it wasn't until I moved to Asheville that I took over an existing studio that I got to marriage my love of fabric and clay together. And that's sort of how I got to using lace in my work.
Great. And where do you source the lace you use? Are there pieces behind the stories you choose, or is it the pattern that you're drawn to?
Well, I have been collecting lace for years, and when I first started doing this, I called up my mother and asked if there was any lace that she had that I could use. And she said no, it really wasn't her thing, and that was that. But then a couple weeks later, I got this big box of lace full from my mother. And turns out that she had been collecting it for years unknowingly because people would have given her or sent her pieces. So I actually have, if I can do this here, this piece of lace is a bed covering that my grandmother hand crocheted as a wedding gift to my parents. And it had never been out of the box until my mother was searching for lace to give me, and she found that she had this. So it's over 60 years old now. And I think my grandmother would have been upset that it never got used, but I hope she's happy now that I'm using it. So for those of you who aren't familiar, let me show you just how simple this is. This is a piece of clay that I've already rolled out on the table. And then I just lay the lace on top. I'll roll it in with a brayer, like so, and then take it out. And I don't know whether you can see that or not, but it leaves behind a perfect impression of the lace. And then as you can see here, the lace is perfectly clean. It's just slightly damp. So we actually do a lot of commission work where people will bring or send in their own heirloom lace. We'll use that to make whatever they'd like, and then we can return it in the condition that it was given to us.
And your work lemon bowl is one of the items in our raffle. I showed it before. And one lucky winner will get to take that home. So you showed us how you imprint the lace, but can you walk us through the process of creating a bowl like that or similar works?
Sure. So the first thing I do is really decide what I'm going to make. And everything needs something that I can either drape over, press in, or put around a mold so that the clay has something to adhere to dry to. As you can see, the clay really doesn't have a body of its own that it will conform to anything. So the lemon bowl got its name because the bowl that I use looks like a big lemon. So we're not real sophisticated here. We just kind of call things for what we think of them. And we'll take a piece of clay and then we'll put it in the mold, and it kind of tells me what it wants to be. So depending on how it's going to form on the bowl, it may fold a certain way, When I look at it, I might have to put a little doodad or a whatchamacallit in order to strengthen the bowl, both physically or artistically. And that is basically how I make a lemon bowl. Usually I will make a lemon bowl when I have 2 scraps of clay that are a kind of a crescent shape, because that's what it uses. I will patch pieces of clay together and adhere them with a slip.
Perfect. And so your work has a very distinct look to it. Do you find that you're still evolving in your process? And what do you see for the future of your studio practice?
Well, I hope I am. I find that when I make a piece, that piece is all about what I'm going to do next. So it's amazing. I've had this studio for 15 years, and I will have done the same thing, not the same piece, but maybe a technique for 15 years, and then suddenly it will dawn on me that if I do it differently, it works better. So it's a constant learning process. And when you are making a piece, you oftentimes see ways that, you know, if I had only done this, it would have been better or different or more unique. And so that you can take that knowledge and use it on your next piece. So when I say that each piece tells me what it wants to be, oftentimes I will look at a piece or even just a pile of scraps that are sitting on the table, and it will, what should I say? I don't know. It will, as I said, tell me what it wants to be. Oftentimes I've taken scraps because they're so beautiful, made a vase and stuck them on the side of the vase just so that I had some way of using that unique combination of clay.
Great. And Christy mentions that she's read that you hope your ceramics challenge ideas of masculinity. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, it's funny, even when I was in graduate school and did my thesis show, I was in the gallery one day and these 2 women were talking to each other, and they said, one said to the other, "It's great to see women making work like this." And I thought that was the biggest compliment I could have ever received. So I don't think of ceramics as being male or female, but I don't necessarily, I don't know what I'm trying to say. If it does, that's great.
Great. And we have one more very important question from
Sure.
Rebecca about whether or not your studio assistants, Stanley and Rose, are there with you.
They are not here tonight because I was told that you would pick up background noise and inevitably they would have gotten into an argument. Stanley is quite the hellion and he would have been picking on Rose and she would have said enough is enough. But they are here during the day whenever I'm here.
For those who don't know, Rose and Stanley are Michael's dogs, so.
And Stanley just celebrated his 2nd birthday yesterday.
Oh, wow. Well, happy birthday to Stanley. It looks like Sarah just wrote something saying that you used her wedding dress lace to create 2 pieces for her daughter and her fiance, Aaron. And it was a great use of the dress because her daughter is certainly not interested in wearing it. So.
Yeah, we do all sorts of commission pieces, and those are really fun because they're bringing something that is really meaningful to individuals and creating something that will be will last longer than the dress or whatever it be, and also it will be out where people can see it. So, I mean, it's a little weird to have a wedding dress hanging in your house, but to have a vase that used that lace, and then you can tell people about it. So it's bringing that oral tradition, keeping it alive, because you have something seen that you can talk about.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I think those are all the questions for tonight. I really appreciate you being here. And as a reminder to everyone, Michael's work and Shane's work are in our raffle tonight. I know I'll be buying a ticket, and I hope many of you will as well. So thanks so much, Michael. And I hope you can now get home to Rose and Stanley.
Well, thank you very much. And I miss you guys and look forward to seeing you all in person when the museum opens.
Great. Thanks. We look forward to that too.
Take care.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone again for being here tonight. We're getting towards the end of our evening, and Room to Dance will be returning in just a few. But first, as membership and events manager, I would be remiss not to talk to you tonight about membership at the Asheville Art Museum. Not only do members provide crucial funding for museum programs, exhibitions, and general operating support, but they're really the heart of our organization. And our members are a community of art enthusiasts, collectors, educators, and advocates. And since our reopening in November, as Pam mentioned, our membership base has grown beyond our wildest expectations. And if you're not already a member, we invite you to be a part of it. While we're closed, members can attend weekly member programs and receive discounts on virtual classes and workshops. And when we do finally reopen, members will be the first welcome back to the museum with a few special member-only days. And we'll be in touch with more information about that once we get permission to reopen from the state and local governments. And so now let me just share this really quickly. All right, so we do have a variety of membership benefits available. Artists, educators, and family dual, artists, educators, and seniors over 65 can become museum members for just $50. Individuals can join for $65 a year, and families can join for just $100. Benefits include free guest passes, invitations to our member openings, and a 10% discount in the museum store and our rooftop cafe Perspective. And just so you know, that discount is available even when we're closed for museum members who order from our Perspective Cafe Partners food experience on their website. And Christy, I believe, is posting a link to that right now in our chat box. And as membership levels increase, so do our benefits. Our patron members receive free admission to more than 180 museums throughout the Southeast through our Southeastern Reciprocal Membership Program, and benefactor members and above receive that benefit along with invitations to exclusive curator and director-led tours, and access to over 1,000 museums nationwide and in Canada through the North American Reciprocal Museum Association. And so it's really worth joining. If you are able to become a member, I encourage you to do so today. A one-time purchase is a year-long investment in yourself, your museum, and your community. And the link to our member page is located in the chat box, and you can find complete details about our membership benefits there at our website, ashevilleart.org. So before I turn this back over to our Executive Director, Pam Myers, I just want to talk about the auction one more time. As a reminder, our auction and raffle will stay live through Tuesday, August 18th at 6 p.m. To place a bid or purchase a raffle ticket, you can register to bid on our event page at ashevilleart.org, and you'll get a link to our auction site there. You can also contact me, Kristen Body, by email, phone, or through our website. Once the auction closes, all winners will receive an email notification letting them know they've won. So please be on the lookout for that. And again, I'll do a random drawing of the raffle winner on Wednesday, August 19th in the morning, and we'll contact that person directly, and we'll announce our winners in our weekly e-newsletter later that week. And so, one more time. So I want to highlight just a few last auction items this evening. I think one thing we're all missing right now is travel. And while we may not be able to hop on a plane and travel the world, it's still possible to get a change of scenery. And I'd like to bring your attention to lots 137, 138, 139, 140, and 141. These packages can be a much needed staycation just for you, or for you and your partner or quarantine buddy. Or if you have friends or family visiting but prefer not to host them at your house, you can still make sure they're comfortable at a nearby hotel. The packages in these lots have been generously donated by the Foundry Hotel, DoubleTree by Hilton Asheville Biltmore, Cascades Mountain Resort, the Hampton Inn and Suites in Biltmore Farms, and the Hilton Asheville at Biltmore Park. Each package is paired with a different experience or restaurant certificate for you to enjoy. These certificates have been donated by the Blackbird Restaurant, Lezoom Tours, Asheville Home Crafts, French Bar Chocolate, Biltmore Estate, and 131 Main Restaurant. And so our donors have been amazingly generous. So while we only highlighted a few of the lots this evening, we have a ton available that are really great. And I again want to thank our wonderful auction donors. I hope you all find something special to bid on. And as you bid, please keep in mind that these funds will support museum programs and exhibitions and all the seemingly simple things like keeping lights on and the temperature controlled to protect the art. And so I also want to thank you all again for your support of the museum. All the work we do is only possible because of you, so thank you for that. And now I'd like to welcome back our Executive Director, Pam Myers.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for sticking with us this evening. I really do thank all of you for tuning in to this, our first summer fundraiser. As I mentioned, it is a first and it's a learning experience for all of us. I wish I was sitting in a living room or on the porch or in the gallery or Perspective Cafe with each and every one of you, talking more freely about the work around us, exchanging ideas, seeing new things, and learning new things from one another. I think we've all learned, those of us who've been here since March, that having the museum to yourself is, on the one hand, a really wonderful experience, a very private, inspirational one, but really the museum comes alive when people are here and when we're sharing it with one another. And we all can't wait for that to happen, and certainly hope it's soon. We're so grateful to all of our members and our ongoing supporters, and for those of you who may be first-time donors, for any gift you can give at this time, we really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank our two event sponsors once more, Samsel Architects and Room to Dance. They're great partners in a number of our endeavors, and will continue to be so, I am sure. Second, I want to thank Shane Farrow and Michael Hoffman for being part of tonight's event. Over the last months, we've had the opportunity to work with artists in our collection and artists that we know through a variety of virtual programs where we share their work and their process and their ideas with you. And we will be continuing to do that as time goes on. And I know many of you have participated in those programs, and I hope you will continue to do so and find, again, inspiration and new ideas. I'd also like to thank all the individuals. I'll join Kristen in thanking all the individuals and businesses who donated to the silent auction, and the Art Party committee members who helped secure these donations. We'll get through this. I know we will. Those of you who know me know I am an eternal optimist, and I'm stubborn as all get out. So we'll get from here to there. We may reimagine things as we go along, but I think those of you who've been part of the museum family for a long time know that we have an incredibly creative group of people who have thus far demonstrated their ability to pivot, and will continue to do so as we envision what the new normal or new not normal is as we go forward. I'm working hard at trying to get our doors open. We have, as you know, a very large, very clean, brand new facility with astounding heating, ventilation, and cooling, and lots of room to move. And at the same time, you know, art museums, other than our play space and our studios, are generally touchless places. So it's a very, very safe place to be, and we can't wait to welcome all of you back here to spend some time with us, laughing, eating, looking at art, making art, and enjoying one another's company. I'll remind you again, as Kristen told me to, that the bidding will remain open on the auction items through Tuesday, August 18th. And the donation portal is there as well. From the bottom of my heart and from all of the staff and the trustees and the volunteers at the Asheville Art Museum, I want to thank you for your ongoing support, for your generous comments to us as you explore our programs. It really has kept us all upbeat and positive in this time, and has helped us learn really a lot of new things about how we can better serve our communities going forward. And that's a silver lining, I think. I'm not a Pollyanna, but I think that there are silver linings here. I think maybe that's it that I need to say. You know where to find me. I'm in the museum most of the time. I can't wait to see you all in person, but also am open to conversations about anything that crosses your mind. Ideas are always welcome. Creative approaches to new projects. I will say that I wish we'd had a moment tonight to take you on our virtual tour. If you haven't done that yet, it's on the museum's website on the Museum from Home page, and Christy has also attached to that a really wonderful audio guide. So please explore that, or I'll talk to Kristen about maybe making that a new Slow Art Friday or members program. It's a really great tool for us, and I know will be one that we use in the schools as we move into the fall, and virtual programming that supports our teachers and families in the community. So I guess that's another silver lining too. So to end our evening, I'd like to welcome back Room to Dance. They're out in the Wingate atrium where there's a lot of room to dance and to be distanced. You'll see that they're now moving across the atrium in front of the Mile-Lins Pin River, the French Broad River, the wonderful installation that's part of the Many Become One exhibition that we opened the museum with. If you're still feeling in the party mood and need a break from sitting and Zooming, get off your couch and join the dancing. And I hope to see you all soon. Thank you for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it.